to the incompatibility of the various ethnic nationalities you have that make up Nigeria, but more importantly, to draw our attention to the irreducibility of value system in determining who should belong with who in any nation. It's quite interesting that he used Yugoslavia as an example. The funniest thing that people don't understand about Yugoslavia is that they are all one Slavic people. They are all Slavic people, as you have with Russia and Bulgaria and all the rest of it. They're all Slavic people. They are one people, one race. They are predominantly Christians. Of course, you have in Bosnia and Herzegovina, during the march of Islam into Europe, that a few of them became Muslims, as you have in some parts of Kosovo and also in Albania. What I am trying to point out is this: these people who are one race, predominantly one religion, cannot live together in a country called Yugoslavia. How about people who are from Senegambia and goodness knows where else? Not the same language, not the same religion, not the same traditions, not the same culture, absolutely nothing. How can you make these people become one nation? Is not possible. That is something we've talked about before, that most Africans don't seem to pay much attention to. We are tribal animals by nature. Africans are tribal by nature. That is why every Christmas, every New Year festival, every August, we travel back to the village. Even if you live in Kaduna, somebody will ask you, where are you from? You say, I'm from Ihioma. Because that is where your ancestors come from. In Africa, we come from where our ancestors come from. But white Europeans can travel to Australia and they're comfortable. They're from Australia. They can travel to New Zealand. They're from New Zealand. They're okay with it. But even if you take us to New Zealand and we stay there for 1 million years, if you ask us where we come from, I will come from Ibeco. That is something that is very unique to Africa, and nobody can take that away from us. And that is something that most people do not understand nor have an appreciation for. That is why in Africa, in everywhere you go to, be it in Kenya, in Ethiopia, in South Africa, everywhere, people still talk about tribe till tomorrow morning because we are different. So rather than trying to experiment with us, this sort of very colonial, artificial construct, because mind you, all states in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, are all racist constructs. Those that developed or created Nigeria, that created Togo, that created Ghana, they had racism in mind, not your interest. And this is what we've been trying to explain to African people. If not, why would we go to Lagos during a revolution, or should I say a mini revolution, a protest? And people of Lagos, Yoruba people are saying, oh, that Igbos came here to destroy their buildings. But you are all one Nigeria, you claim. These are the things that people need to appreciate. We don't want Fulanis in our land for the simple reason that we don't want to dilute.
Attention, attention. IPOB, one family. This and
Can you hear me?
Sorry about that. Something
just... It's okay. What I'm trying to point out, Simon, is this. Forget about all the one Africa. I'm a Pan-Africanist. But we need to start organically. We need to go back to where we come from and begin to build a consensus from the grassroots. When should Biafra want to join Oduduwa in forming a nation, we look at all the pros and cons and then reconcile all these things, and then we move together as one. Look at Britain that gave Nigeria, so that colonized and still owns Nigeria till tomorrow morning. Scotland wants to be on their own. Wales will be on their own very soon. Northern Ireland will live to be on their own. That is human nature. You cannot take it away from us. The only reason why they have Nigeria together the way it is, and why we have been complaining, and why authors and great commentators like the man you alluded to has not gotten any traction in terms of people being able to understand and appreciate what he's saying is because of the way we reason. I say this all the time. Professor Wole Soyinka, a great literary giant, I would say, came out the other day to say that he is fed up, there is war on his doorstep. He knows very well, as an intellectual, so to speak, that the reason why the war is on his doorstep is because Nigeria is flawed. If Oduduwa were to be on their own, do you think somebody will go to, any cow will go to Soyinka's farm to eat the cabbage or the carrot? It won't happen. These are things that we need to understand, that first and foremost, we are tribal animals because life as we know it started in Africa. We are attached to the land we come from. That is who we are. Because the white man can be born in England and come to America to settle for life and say he or she is an American, doesn't mean we have to follow them. Thank you.
Thank you, Onyendu. Now let us now go from the fundamental in the sense that, you know, when people are hearing that we are agitating for Biafra, we want Biafra, some of them in the West, we say the political elite are not shouting Biafra, that they are only those who are in diaspora, you know, like civilized ones, are the ones shouting for Biafra. And this fact, a lot of people don't know. When you look at it, you find out that 99% of people in Biafra are shouting Biafra. 99% of Biafrans in Nigeria are shouting for Biafra. Only 1%, not even up to 1% of this so-called elite. These are the politicians that have been benefited from Nigeria. Now, I want us to look at how will disintegrated Nigeria favor the region before we come into the crisis and the lives that have been lost as a result of trying to keep one Nigeria. Can you tell us, how do you think that a disintegrated Nigeria will favor the Fulani themselves, the Hausa themselves, the Middle Belt, the Oduduwas, the Biafrans, and any other nation that will want to come out of Nigeria? Explain to us. Let us hear.
Before I came on this your fantastic program today, I read a very brilliant piece, or should I say a comment by somebody. The person said that Nigeria is the only place he knows where yesterday is better than today. Ask yourself, at which point in Nigeria's history did they record the highest level of human development? It was when they were on their own, when they were semi-autonomous regions. So there is an already made example there for people to reference, should they wish to do so. It was when this unitary mindset came into existence that things started to fall apart. So if when you were on your own, the North was doing very well, or the West was doing very well, Opera had the fastest growing economy in the world at nearly 48% every year. Awolowo did his magic in the West. Now tell me, you have a simple example. When people were, should I say, semi-autonomous, or should I say autonomous, so to speak, they were doing very well. Now you are together in one Nigeria. Everything is falling apart to the extent that people are coming from Mali, from Senegambia, from Niger, from Chad, in your backyard, raping and killing you. It's a no-brainer. It's simple common sense. As I said before, that is who we are. Because once you allow an element of stress, an infusion of competition, you get the best out of the people. Right now, we do not have that. Right now, there is no competition. Right now, this thing about one Nigeria, unity is stifling the creative potentials in us, all of us. Yoruba is not doing well. Biafra is not doing well. Middle Belt is not doing well. The North is not doing well. Nobody is doing well. Then you ask yourself, all these glorious reference to our past, what period was it? The only period was between 1960 to 1965. And then you had regions. Who can argue with that? So the more you separate, the more you look inwards, the more you look at yourself, the more you become self-reliant, the more you, do you know that in those days, all the regions that they had embassies abroad? Do you know that? Do you know Eastern region had their own embassies abroad with their flag? Are you aware of that? Most people don't know this. And that was the time that Nigeria witnessed a semblance of growth in terms of human development. Now you have a very, should I say, disgraceful contraption called One Nigeria. And everybody is struggling. Cows are making your lives a misery. If you don't know that going back to autonomy is the best way forward, then there is something wrong with that person.
Onyendu, thank you very much. Just because you know everything we do in Biafra, we stand by the truth. We do everything with evidence and fact. Just to back up what you have just said, I told you about 93 pages of application filed to the ICC. Barely few years of formation of IPOB, because this was in 2016. Barely 2 years. The foundation of Nigeria were shaken by the formation of IPOB and the activity of the IPOB in Nigeria. So on that ground, this application was filed in 2016 January. So I am bringing it to the screen now for people to see. For those who are asking, this is number one. The application has been filed 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and this is 2021. And there is nothing to show for it. And there is a place I'm going. I'm going somewhere with this statement I'm making now, which we are going to discuss, later on in this program. Now, when you read the introduction here, it says, one, this communication is hereby filed to the Office of the Prosecutor, the OTP of the International Criminal Court, the ICC, pursuant to Article 15 of the Rome Statute, the statute, by Professor Goran Slota and Andrew, on behalf of the indigenous people of Biafra, a movement dedicated to self-determination of a former republic of Biafra in southeastern Nigeria, as well as on behalf of 17 individual citizens of Nigeria, the victims collectively, with the IPOB, the petitioner. Two, the petitioner submit that, based on the information set out herein, there is reason to believe that crimes against humanity within the jurisdiction of the ICC, in particular, murder, unlawful imprisonment, torture, enforcements, disappearance, other inhuman acts, and persecution have been committed in the context of politically and ethnically motivated state violence against primarily IPOB members and the Igbo people of southeastern Nigeria. Due to the absence of domestic criminal proceedings, with respect to those potentially bearing the greatest responsibility for these crimes, in particular, but not limited to Nigeria current President Muhammad Buhari, and that was then, and in the light of the gravity of the act committed. Now, this is 93 pages, 93 good pages. The list can go on and go on. Factual evidences, citations, references, up to 93 good pages. And of course, like you said in the beginning, that you do not want to discuss this thing because a lot have been done and people are not aware of it. So just to let the public understand, what the IPOB have done all this while, when people go on social media to say IPOB under leadership of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is doing this or they are not doing that, so this is just one evidence of it, that as far back as 2016, you have started taking actions which are necessary, lawful, and legal actions against the Nigeria terrorist state. But up to now, nothing is happening. But I'm still going to come back to why I am showing this thing, because the actions of today is as a result of the failure of the international community to heed to the call of the Biafra people, of which you have done honorably well in that aspect. So this is just a side comment on what you have said before. Now, going to what you've just said about how Nigeria, how it will benefit the other region and the component that makes up Nigeria, how it will benefit them when Nigeria is disintegrated. And you made mention of what you read, that Nigeria of yesterday, that yesterday is better than today. That is very awkward fact. You know, very, very awkward fact that every president that comes to Nigeria, the last one will always be better than the new one. It has been, it's not only in the economic sector and all that. But the second question, or the third question I want to ask you is this. Now, looking at what is happening now, a lot of people don't understand what is going on in Nigeria. A lot of people still believe in the, of course, they still believe somehow in Nigeria. You know, they believe that the structure, the political structure of Nigeria is the major problem. And we, people following you, have a different view and a different opinion to this. And I think this is where the interest is clashing. Anybody that is shouting for Nigeria today believe that the problem is in the political structure. We are believing that the problem is not about political structure, but rather there is a motivated, or there is a premeditated act to take our land and turn it into Islamic State or Fulanize us. So we are not looking at the aspect of the political structure anymore. It is a struggle for survival of our people. I want you to shed more light on this, because, you know, those supporting one Nigeria must have reason. And the reason what we have seen is that they are thinking that the political structure of Nigeria is the problem of Nigeria. So can you tell us more about, you know, that it is not the political structure, rather something they should know about?
Thank you, Simon. It's something they know about, but pretend not to know about it. Everybody knows about the hegemonic tendencies of the Fulani Caliphate. We are well versed in the, should I call it, shenanigans of those people who are always expanding. There was a lecture that I gave that the Fulanis are the only people that continues to expand. Not expand in terms of population, but in terms of territorial influence and supplanting existing cultures and traditions with their own. When we say this thing, people say, oh, you're warmongering, you're profiling, and it is hate and all the rest of it. And I say it is pure nonsense. Look at the history of the Hausa people. Those of you that want one Nigeria, look at what is happening today in Kanem Borno, the place you call Borno State. Look at the fate of those of them in the Middle Belt. Look at the fate of those of them, our brothers and sisters in Yoruba land, Yoruba. Even the Caliphate left their footprints there many, many years ago in Kwara State. Many years ago, they overran Nupe people of Niger State. Many years ago, some of you don't know this, they forcibly tried to convert the Atta of a Gala to Islam. These things are there in our history books. They are everywhere. If one Nigeria means that our land should be surrendered to people from Senegambia, then death is a better option, because it's not going to happen. We are the Biafran people, and within that Biafra, it contains a very unique race in the world called the Igbo race. They are very difficult, don't get me wrong, but they are very unique. Very, very unique. I don't think anybody is more stubborn than we are. I don't think anybody is more generous than we are. I do not believe that any race on this earth is more affluent in terms of natural blessing than we are. Anybody thinking they can use the guise of one Nigeria to take the land of our ancestors, that person is dreaming. Them and their cohorts, they are dreaming. And I will tell you why they're dreaming. They have tried before, over 300 years ago, to take that very land. They failed. Islam made it to the sea across West Africa. Islam made it to the Atlantic Ocean. The only place that Islam did not succeed in penetrating is the East. And when they came for that very jihad, we had no army at all. God Almighty in heaven, they fought for us. All their armies died. That thing they tried in Kwara State and succeeded, they tried it in Lower Benue, in Idoma and Igere lands, and they failed. All their armies died. The few that survived, they trekked back to Zaria from whence they came. I must warn anybody, all of these people agitating or saying, oh, we want one Nigeria, you are setting up yourselves to fail. You are as foolish as Hausa peasants. Hausa peasants did the same thing you're doing. Oh, allow them, give them land, give them cattle. By the time they woke up, all their kings were dead. Hausa kingdoms became Fulani Emirates. Where you have Hausa governors, you have Fulani governors. Telling you we are Hausa Fulani, we are Hausa Fulani. And I keep asking myself, why is it that people don't see all these things? Is it because, of course, that is why we call them a zoo, because they are very foolish, without apologies to anyone. Because if you are not foolish, history is there for you to reference. These people asking you for land, asking you for Ruga, maintain peace, let's stay in one Nigeria. What are their antecedents? What have they done in the past? Because where we come from their behavior in the past, you now know if you can trust them or not. But it's Britain that is behind the scenes, remoting everything that's happening in this zoo. I am a British citizen. I hold a British passport. I know there are good men and women in England. It is a land of conscience. It was English people that left Southampton to come to America to build America, the land of the free. English people, yes. They traveled on a ship called Mary Rose. They landed at a place called New England. Conscientious, honorable, God-fearing people. They were the ones that helped slaves to escape from the south to the north. English people. But there is a breed we have now. Blood-sucking demons. Their job is to hold Africa down, to hold a black person down. And how are they doing it? They don't want you to tamper with any of their creations in Africa, all these idiotic states, all these artificial boundaries they gave us in Africa. No, because that is the beginning of the chain that is holding us down, and they know it. And the question is, who is a Nigerian? And I will ask you a simple, I want you to contemplate something, Simon, for me. Go on. If I ask you now to go and prepare a Nigerian dish for me, what are you going to present? Because if you bring a wedu soup, somebody from the East will tell you that is not their food. They're not even eat it. If you bring Afan or a Dikaifon, somebody from Kano State will tell you that is not our food. If you bring Tuwo, is it Tuwo Shinkafi or whatever they call it, somebody from the Middle Belt will say that is not our food. Ordinary food, there is no commonality. Is it the way they dress? So I keep asking myself every blessed day when I wake up, what is it that unites Nigeria together? And then I discovered it is two things. An innate desire to be corrupt, and secondly, stupidity. Those two things are very, very pivotal. They are the things driving the zoo. People talk about their founding fathers. When the Fulanis are talking, they say our founding fathers, and I keep asking them, Nigeria, your president, so-called, the dead Buhari, is older than the country. Where else in the world do you have a head of state that is actually older than the country in the 21st century? So tell me one place. Only in Africa. Because they came to Africa and they built all these contraptions, and now in our idiocy and stupidity as Black people, we accepted it. As I keep asking all the time, can you go to Europe to build a country for them? They will hang you that same day. If you cannot do the same thing in Europe that Europeans did in Africa, then why are you accepting it? Why are you accepting it? The key thing here is the way we reason. That is the problem with the Black man, how we reason. People talk about Nigeria as their country, talk about Nigeria as their nation, as if Nigeria has any legs to stand on in the first place. Nigeria it has no meaning. It is a very derisory meaning. It means something very terrible and very awful. If I ask in Yoruba language, tell me the meaning of Nigeria, you cannot tell me. If I go to Igbo language, tell me the meaning of Nigeria, you cannot tell me. But I know the meaning of England. It's the land of the English people. I know the meaning of France, or is the land of the French people. It's only in Africa they have all this garbage. And we are, after our university, after our so-called PhD, FFD, SSD, common to reason like a human being, we cannot. Those are the things we are fighting. And those are the things that our detractors are very, very uncomfortable with. And that is why today you must pat yourself on the back, and every IPOB member for that matter, for the very simple reason. At last, people are beginning to reason in this room, all thanks to what we are doing. So don't mind them. When they go back into the privacy of their homes, they consider what we are saying is right. But outwardly, due to economic, political, or whatever thing that it is, they wish to toe the line of let's keep Nigeria warm. We are not fighting with anybody. All we're asking them to do is to reason for once in their useless lives to be able to. They say insult them. If you're an idiot, why won't I insult you? I'm asking you, go to a white man's land and tell them you want to create a country in Europe. That day they will roast you alive. They will, in fact, they will first of all inject you. They will say you are not well in the brain. They came to our land, they divided Yoruba into three. Some Yoruba is in Togo, some Yoruba is in Benin Republic, some are in the zoo. You're telling me that a Yoruba man who is in Nigeria is more related to a Canadian man who is in Borno, more than his own brother in the other side of Paraguay, in Porto Novo, in Benin Republic. They speak the same language, wear the same clothes, do eat the same food, everything is the same. But a white man, now we have French Yoruba, those who are in Benin Republic and in Togo. We now have English Yoruba who are in Nigeria. What type of God made us? And let me give you an example before I conclude on this very point. Simon, is this. Do you know that Togo used to belong to Germany before? Togo, they were Germans before. After the Second World War, they used Togo to compensate France because Germany lost the war. And these are human beings in Africa, for Christ's sake.
This is our teacher of all time. I say, listen, you go learn. This kind of video, you no need anybody to explain to you. Only carry your pen, carry your paper, listen, jot down, learn. Great teacher of all time, I greet you.
I can't understand this type of nonsense. I can't understand it. And that is why I keep saying that the one of the greatest, disasters to befall me in life is to come from Africa. Where people do not reason. How can you have the same people? One part is French, the other part is English. Is English and is Yoruba and the French, are they the same people? The answer is no. And you're telling me that a Yoruba man inside Nigeria should be related with somebody in Borno State. Lord have mercy. Thank you very much, please.
Thank you very much, Onyendu. You have explained this thing very broadly. The point you have made very clear is that they knew that the problem of Nigeria is not based on political structure. They know it very well. The problem of Nigeria is that people are conquering our land, and they are trying to take our land and convert us into Fulani nation and caliphate. And that will be resisted with everything we have. Now, the next thing I want to, talk about or ask you about is, of course, like I said, we are going to get tough, this evening. We are going to say things that will provoke a lot of people. And on that note, I'm going to bring to the screen the international acceptable, or should I say, the Declaration of Human Rights on freedom of expression and freedom of speech. Now, when you look at what is going on in the zoo, they circulated some kind of threat letter to the medias in Nigeria, threatening them that that you must not mention Fulani. When the Fulani have attacked and killed people, you must not mention them. So I'm going to read just very briefly a couple of these international laws. Like here, you see the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 19. Everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers. Now, the same, another international covenant on human political rights, Article 19, everyone shall have right to hold opinion without interference. Everyone shall have the right to freedom of expression. The right shall include freedom to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas of all kinds, regardless of frontiers, either orally or written, or in print and in form of art, or through any other media of his choice. The exercise of the right provide for in paragraph 3 of this article carries with its special duties and responsibilities. It may therefore be subject to certain restriction, but this shall only be such as are provided by law and are necessary for respect of right or reputations of others, for of national security or of public order or of public health or morals. Now, in this particular B, when the state becomes the sponsor of terrorism, of course, there is always exceptional clauses. Now, the African Charter on Human Rights and People's Rights, Article 9, every individual shall have the right to receive information. Every individual shall have the right to express and disseminate his opinion within the law. The resolution 169 on repealing criminal defamation law in Africa by the African Commission on Human Rights and People's Rights, 24 December 2010, underlined that criminal defamation laws constitute a serious interference with freedom of expression and impede on the role of the media as a watchdog, preventing journalists and media practitioners to practice their profession without fear and in good faith. Automatically, this failed in the Zoo Republic of Nigeria, commending state parties to the African Charter parties that do not have or have completely repealed insult and criminal defamation laws. Call on state parties to repeal criminal defamation. Of course, this is directly talking to Nigeria. Now, while I'm reading this, let us go to the European Convention as well, of Protection of Human Rights and Fundamental Rights. If something is saying everyone has the right of freedom of expression, this right shall include freedom to hold opinions and receive and impart information and ideas without interference and all that. Then the American Convention of Human Rights, Article 13, is saying the same thing. I don't need to go further. The Asian Human Rights is saying the same thing. Now, I am not going to ask you a question from this what I have just read now. I am not. It is not to ask you a question, but rather it is about what we are going to discuss from here. Now, looking at the Nigeria state today, you see that when it comes to international law, we have what we call the state-sponsored terrorism. We have state actor, non-state actors. Now you have in Nigeria who have been internationally recognized by different nations, by many nations, as aiding, abetting, and supporting ethnic cleansing, supporting terrorism by their action, inaction, body language, policies, and name them. Now it lies in the hand of the citizen of this country. When you have a state sponsoring terrorists against its citizen, it lies in the hand of the citizen to rise up and protect themselves. On this note, you set up the Eastern Security Network against the non-state actors. And we know that the state actors are also there, aiding and supporting the non-state actors. When we are talking about non-state actors, we are talking about the Fulani herdsmen terrorists, we are talking about the bandits, we are talking about whatever name you can name them, they are all the same thing. Now, how do we combat the state actors in the presence of what is going on in Nigeria now, that everybody knew that the state actors are very visible in the field? The Army General called T.Y. Danjuma said, Nigeria Army collude with bandits. You have to rise up, otherwise you will all be killed one by one. Do you want me to play the video so you can, recall your memory on it?
I'm aware of what T.Y. Danjuma said.
All right.
And he said we should all go and buy guns as well. He said
exactly.
So, go and buy guns to defend yourself.
And not only him, almost everybody is advocating for everybody to buy gun. But that is not the point. What I'm trying to say is that when you have in a country where you have a state-sponsored terrorist, how do you now, make sure that your people are safe against a state-sponsored terrorism, like you see in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. Before I answer that question, before you started, you read out some conventions and some laws guiding people by the UN, by EU, by Africa, and all these people. All these very fanciful, beautiful words. They are meant for human beings in Europe and in America, in Australia. That is where these things work. It was not designed for animals in Africa, where people do not reason very well, where people do not think very well. You have a country called Nigeria that domesticated into its laws the rights of indigenous people, Africa Charter on Human Rights, that gives you, Simon, the right to agitate for tokenized republic if you want. It is in the laws of Nigeria. You go to the court in Nigeria, a judge will be looking at this convention that is actually a law domesticated into law, and he will charge you or she will charge you with terrorism. People don't understand the mess that we are in. In a short while, I will answer your question. But until people realize that what we've been saying from day one is correct, their lives won't be any better.
Before you go further, Amadike, before you go further in addressing that, you just made a point now about the self-determination. So let me also bring in the self-determination and read it a little bit for people who don't understand. Not for you, of course, but for people who don't understand.
So they know it's Nigerian law. It's in the laws of Nigeria. When you do, they say you're a terrorist. You are being treasonable. But it's in their law. Nigerian law says you can agitate for anything you like. Is that?
When I hear direct from the mouth of Ohamadike that you must fight, because whether you fight you, whether you did not fight you, whether you are not interested you have already been tagged a terrorist. Because they just want you to remain like this. They cut your neck, you go remain like this. That's what they want you. If you move, you are a terrorist. It's good he's speaking. That is why I want him to speak. Because Obi Madubu or what him be named Benjamin Madubu or Madubu is the next person I am going to talk about after this program.
Please go ahead.
Now, apart from that, Nigeria being signatory to all these international laws, of course, automatically becomes also they are compelled to respect that law. Here you have the right of a people to self-determination is a cardinal principle in modern international law and commonly regarded as a jus cogens rules. Now, these jus cogens rules we are going to go into now to tell you what actually, as you can see it, a peremptory norms is a fundamental principle of international law that is accepted by the international community of state as a norms from which no derogation is permitted. And when you look at this particular law or the treaty, I would say it is binding as such on the United Nations as authoritative interpretation of the charter's norm. It states that people, based on respect for the principle of equal right and fair equity of opportunity, have the right to freely choose their sovereignty and international political status with no interference. Now, everybody knows why United Nations was formed in the first place in 1945. Is to maintain peace. Peace, amongst nation and state. Now, before going into commenting on this, how do United Nations comes in? It is us that have to now educate them about their own laws. That the reason United Nations was formed is to maintain peace. Now, how do you maintain this peace in Nigeria? In Nigeria, in Sahel region, in West Africa, considering the situation at the moment, what are you think that the United Nations should do to maintain peace in this region? Because that is exactly what they set them up after the World War.
Yes, what they're going to do to maintain peace is to allow people that want to go via their own UN supervised referendum or referenda, which is the plural of referendum, to allow people to determine where they wish to belong to. We are in a world today where you can no longer shackle people to a dogma that is outdated. We live in a world where you can no longer compel people to do something against their will. That is called slavery. I do not see the reason why some people will still attempt to justify, the clamping down or the demonization of freedom fighters in Africa. One thing you must bear in mind is this. There is a grand conspiracy going on. This is something that Africans must understand. You know the issue of CFA in West Africa, the French franc. France uses euros. But in Africa, the parts of Africa they control, they use French francs. The money that these people use, the currency, the paper currency itself, they mint it in Paris somewhere, and they bring it to Africa. France is a country that I love very much. They supported Biafra, as a matter of fact. I care about them. The problem in Africa, unfortunately, are we Africans. You don't expect these people to come down to solve anything for you. It's for you to solve it yourself. I remember I went to a very influential diplomat's office in Brussels at the EU. I went to his office and we presented our case about how they're killing us and everything, and that we are peaceful and everything. The man said, any day you people are serious, we will know. Do you understand the meaning of that? Any day you're serious, we will know. How can somebody come to your backyard, rape your mother, kill your sister? You're going to UN to go and complain to them. UN will say you're stupid. Don't you know what to do? It's only by repelling these demonic forces that the world cannot come in and say what is happening. If there is no war in Nigeria, UN will not talk. If there is no war in Nigeria, CNN will not cover it. If there is no war in Nigeria, there will be no emergency debate at the House of Commons. Never. At a time in your life, you have to say enough is enough.
Una dey hear wetin Mazi Nnamdi Kanu dey talk. Until there is a war, nobody go put mouth. Why I tell you say I dey play this video, na just make you think, and I go like make you dey answer me for comment section here. Is there anything Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have said in this video that Mazi Simon Ekpa is doing contrary? Is there anything Mazi Simon Ekpa is leading Biafra to do today that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have never said here or did not say here in this video? That is why I'm playing. Because Benjamin Madubugo Onyugo Loka and Oga Biakwa Grunsia Onyuno by the time I finish with him today. We move. Without fighting, nobody will come in between. As you dey here now with me, Mazi Sonny for instance, somebody go come dey ask you wetin dey cause why you dey fight me now? Nobody. But if I give you blow for mouth, boom, you give me boom. Somebody go come say stop, wetin happen? Before you go talk. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said there must be a war or nothing will happen. Listen.
No derogation is permitted. And when you look at this particular law or the treaty, I would say it is binding as such on the United Nations as authoritative interpretation of the charter's norm. It states that people, based on respect for the principle of equal right and fair equity of opportunity, have the right to freely choose their sovereignty and international political status with no interference. Now, everybody knows why United Nations was formed in the first place in 1945. Is to maintain peace. Peace, you know, amongst nation and state. Now, before going into, commenting on this, how do United Nations comes in? It is us that have to now educate them about their own laws. That the reason United Nations was formed is to maintain peace. Now, how do you maintain this peace in Nigeria? In Nigeria, in Sahel region, in West Africa, considering the status, considering the situation at the moment, what do you think that the United Nations should do to maintain peace in this region? Because that is exactly what they set them up after the World War.
Yes, what they're going to do to maintain peace is to allow people that want to go via their own UN supervised referendum or referenda, which is the plural of referendum.
Listen now.
To allow people to determine where they wish to belong to. We are in a world today where you can no longer shackle people to a dogma that is outdated. We live in a world where you can no longer compel people to do something against their will. That is called slavery. I do not see the reason why some people will still attempt to justify, the clamping down or the demonization of freedom fighters in Africa. One thing you must bear in mind is this. There is a grand conspiracy going on. This is something that Africans must understand. You know the issue of CFA in West Africa, the French franc. France uses euros. But in Africa, the parts of Africa they control, they use French francs. The money that these people use, the currency, the paper currency itself, they mint it in Paris somewhere, and they bring it to Africa. France is a country that I love very much. They supported Biafra, as a matter of fact. I care about them. The problem in Africa, unfortunately, are we Africans. You don't expect these people to come down to solve anything for you. It's for you to solve it yourself. I remember I went to a very influential diplomat's office in Brussels at the EU. I went to his office and we presented our case about how they're killing us and everything, and that we are peaceful and everything. The man said, any day you people are serious, we will know. Do you understand the meaning of that? Any day you're serious, we will know. How can somebody come to your backyard, rape your mother, kill your sister? You're going to UN to go and complain to them. UN will say you're stupid. Don't you know what to do? It's only by repelling these demonic forces that the world cannot come in and say what is happening. If there is no war in Nigeria, UN will not talk. If there is no war in Nigeria, CNN will not cover it. If there is no war in Nigeria, there will be no emergency debate at the House of Commons. Never. At a time in your life, you have to say enough is enough. What we are asking for is defined in law, and the law protects it. It's called jus cogens, which means in Latin, nobody can deviate from this. Nobody can. It is a fundamental right to agitate for your freedom. It's your fundamental right to do what IPOB is doing. No court, nobody can derogate from it. That is international law, which the zoo signed up to. But we are there every day deceiving ourselves. Let's go to court. We caught terrorists in our, what's their crime? Oh, they belong to IPOB. And you have a journalist, a Yoruba journalist that went to university condoning such evil. We are in Africa. We are conscientious, or people who should be conscientious condone evil because of one consideration or the other. And I give it to white. Sometimes I say they say I am promoting white supremacy. No, I'm not. I am just being very factual. That is one thing that white people have that we Africans do not have. When you make a law, you keep that law. That is why that statue of woman you see all the time that is blind, people don't know the meaning of it. You go to court, you see a woman with sword. On the left hand is maybe Holy Bible, I don't know, Holy Quran. And you see that they covered her eyes. Go and check every law court. Do you know what it means? That the law is blind. So even you as a judge or magistrate interpreting the law, you don't look at the ethnicity of those who are involved. You don't consider if they are rich or poor. You just interpret the law the way you see it. The law says that what IPOB is doing is correct. But somebody will go to police station and write and say, oh, they are terrorists. It's treasonable felon. Therefore, what is happening to us is coming from us, not from white people, not from anybody else. After all, the way that Britain is meddling into the zoo today called Nigeria is because we allowed it to happen. They're allowing it because Fulani is benefiting from it. Typical black people. And I must remind you that white people came to Africa. The Portuguese, the Spanish, the French, the British, the Germans, the Belgians, they came to Africa. The conquering army, the European conquering army that took over the whole of Africa, we are not Europeans, they were Africans. They come into Africa and they use Africans to conquer Africans. It hasn't left us till today. And these are the things that we are fighting. That is why I keep saying that the best thing that IPOB could do for black people is to change the way they reason. Once you change the way they reason, you will see all the difference in this. I remember when we used to tell our Yoruba friends and brothers that the Fulanis are coming. Nobody believed us. They mocked us, they ridiculed us. They said, even today, if you watch Channels television, mostly Yoruba journalists in Channels television, they are making the exact same mistakes that allowed the Fulanis to come this far. They never rose up to condemn them. They never interrogated this Janjaweedism, this march of the Fulani. And as you were saying this, Simon, something occurred to me. Do you know that the Attorney General of the Federation of Nigeria is now advocating that the Fulanis must have a ministry for cows, a commission for cows? Are you aware of it? It's in Vanguard newspaper. And you're all in one Nigeria. 21st century, and you're discussing the movement of cows. There is no justification whatsoever. We are in the mess we are in today because we allowed it to happen. Any day we rise up and say enough is enough, the world will take notice. That's what we are doing. You asked about ESN. Why won't ESN come? The first rule in nature is self-defense. It is so common. It is called tort law, T-O-R-T, tort law. Which means that even a mad person knows about it. You don't need to go to court to justify yourself. You come to my land, you kill my mother, you rape my sister, you cut them into pieces, and then you go. When I confront you, you tell me you want Ruga. You want Fulani in every state in Nigeria. Who told you that? If you're going to give this preferential treatment to cattle raiders, then why not motor spare parts dealers all over the country? Why don't you give them land and give them loans? People see the truth in the zoo and they keep meandering. They keep hiding from it. After all these years, look at the likes of Modo. After messing up for years, now his eyes have suddenly opened. They now know that what IPOB has been saying is right. That's the thing with our people. No single apology to any idiot, wherever they may be in the world. I'm in America. I don't give a damn. No apology to any idiot anywhere they are. ESN has come to stay. We are going to die there, all of us. Let them bring that their nonsense to our land and we'll teach them a lesson. They can do that always in Yoruba land. We take their land and talk, bring it, we'll die there immediately. So they can see with their 2 eyes. Hausa may have fallen for them very cheaply and easily. Wagi or Gwari people may have fallen for them. Nupe may have fallen for them. Egala, some parts of it may have fallen for them. But you see the land of Biafra. We will not surrender Biafra, never, ever, ever. There will be no Ruga, no cattle movement of any sort, none whatsoever. They can bring all the families they like, they cannot settle in Biafra land. They can settle elsewhere, but not in our land. ESN has come to stay without apologies to any idiot, to any fool. We don't apologize to any idiot. Did you see the lady that was caught up in? They raped her and they cut her into pieces. Did you see it? Did you see our mothers being raped in Enugu? It's all over the place. They came to Nim, but they massacred our people. All we did was to cry, to write on Facebook, oh, please sign here. We want to petition the House of Commons. They accuse us to sign here. After signing, what happened? Our cases are there everywhere in the world. If you ask them, they say, no, we don't want Nigeria to break. No, we don't want. But America broke from British Empire. Canada is a free nation. Is that not correct? Under British influence before. Now you're telling me to do the same thing that you did to make America great. You're saying that I cannot do it because you're white and I'm black. God punish the idiot. God punish the bastard. I'm saying it openly. What you did in America to make America great, what you did in Australia to make Australia great, what the French people did because I'm a black man, you're telling me I have to give my land to a bunch of reprobates from the Sahel to rear their cattle in my village because I'm a Nigerian. God punish the idiot.
Oyendu, that is why we are backing every of your action and every of your decision. You know, we are going to make sure that we take a decisive measures and action, whether it is going to bring the international community or whether they will still write our story like we are writing their own story. It is something that we have to see. And because of what you just said now, there is, if you permit me, I will play just one video that is very, very important of our brother, that also shed more light on what you just said now, making America great again, or making your people great, and you don't allow us to do our own. You know, that is something that we have to talk about often. You know, you cannot come and tell us not to do anything on our own, but in your own country, you want to do everything and make it the way you want. So let us play this video for our viewers to see. Very, very important. Very, very important. Oh, you can't hear it. Oh, my goodness.
I cannot hear it. Maybe you can paraphrase it for me. Perhaps you can tell me what the audio is saying, or tell the listening public what the audio is saying.
So the audio, of course, the audio is saying that for those who are making commentary on Biafra, it is not, they are not in the position to, to tell Biafrans not to talk about Biafra.
Yes.
That especially the issue of the war and the experience and all that, that they are not in the position to talk or to tell Biafrans not to talk about Biafra. Rather, it is the responsibility of Biafra people, either if they choose to forgive. That it is not, you are not in position as somebody in America, you are not in position, somebody in Europe, you are not in position, somebody elsewhere in Nigeria, you are not in position to come and say, do not talk about Biafra, because you are not at the receiving end. You did not, you did not participate or feel, the pain of Biafra. You are not a victim. So allow the victim of Biafra to talk. If they decide not to talk again, it is them that should decide not to talk about it, not somebody who did not feel the pain or who did not fall a victim of the killings by the terrorist government of Nigeria to come to say, okay, let us forget about this Biafra, let us try to heal and move forward. That's what the person is trying to say. I think the video I'm going to post it later on. I'm going to post the video later on. And then, so now, let us go to the next question. You know that Nigeria has been killing people, Biafra people, since 1940 something.
Yes.
Since 1940 up till 2021. Yes. And if we begin to, apart from the over 5 million people that died between 1967 to 1970, after that, every killings that happened in northern Nigeria, the Biafra people has always been target.
Yes.
A lot of people are telling us now that, Biafra, you are endangering the life of the people. You are endangering the life of the people. So, and when they are saying this, endangering the life of the people, we don't understand. What do they mean by endangering the life of the people when actually the life of every person in Nigeria is already in danger? So can you tell us, how do you explain to them how endangered are the life of people in Nigeria? Not even talk about Biafra now.
One Nigeria is what is endangering your life. If you stay in one Nigeria, you will die. It's a very simple fact. Why are people dying today? Is it not because of one Nigeria?
Una dey hear am?
Let's say miraculously that according to what our great leader, our eternal leader Ojukwu said in 1967, and opted for a confederacy or a confederation. Do you think Fulani will come and kill you today? Is that not common sense? These people, they know the truth, they keep pretending. Let me tell you one thing, Simon. Those living in Kano and Kaduna, they're endangering my life in the village. If because of you, the Fulanis have the temerity to come to kill us, that means you in Sokoto, you in Meduguri, with your 2x2 hotel, because of that, you want to endanger my entire village. You are the danger to me, not me to you. Let me tell you one thing. Have you ever wondered why each time the Fulanis, they kill people, they take over your land, and there is this who had this, trouble now bubbling, they always talk about unity of the country. Unity of the country. What is it after each and every atrocity? The next thing they talk about is the unity of the country, because they know that within the so-called fake unity of Nigeria, they can perpetrate any evil and get away with it. Don't you know that? If Ojukwu went to Aburi and agreed a confederation with Goa, came back, Britain said no to it, because that will not allow them to use the Fulani to do Satan's work that they are doing, to the work that is the work of Lucifer. Everyone knows that very well. It's the work of darkness. Getting all these savages from across the Sahel to come in a country where we were before Koro here, before our eyes. The government of Nigeria said those killing people are foreigners. When I go to it makes me very, very upset, to be honest. And I hate Nigeria the more, and anybody who calls him or herself a Nigerian. As I've told you, I don't see you as a human being. Once you say you're a Nigerian, I see you as something lower than you. God in heaven knows. I don't have any regard for you. Before our eyes, they asked them, people are killing us, so come to rescue us. So they said, no, they're from foreign, they're foreigners. Now, the same foreigners, you want us to give them land to do agriculture. And I know, honestly, I don't know the God that made black people. I'm being honest with you. I don't know who made it. I don't know where we came from. Because no human being can reason the way we do. I tell you, it's not possible anywhere in the world. Who are those killing us? You said, oh, they are foreigners. Before our eyes, during COVID, the height of COVID, they closed southern borders, but opened northern borders. Nobody said anything. Even today, I was yesterday, they appointed a new EFCC chairman. That man is a Fulani man. Nobody saying anything. So that means that Nigeria belongs to them. That means if you support one Nigeria, you support what the Fulanis are doing. It means you want me, my village, to be taken and handed over to Fulani. Anybody canvassing for one Nigeria, you are a threat to me and to the way of life of our people. There is a reason why when you're going to the village, you buy a bottle of hot drink to give to an elder, to pour libation on the ground of your ancestors. That was the same reason why when Joseph died in Egypt, they dug his body up, his bones, and took him back to the land of his fathers to go and bury him in Israel. That is who we are. Nobody can take our land from us. Anybody, oh, we are in the north, you're endangering us. Mind what you say, not to endanger us. But you living in the north, you are endangering me living in the village. I knew that when this problem started, they would say, oh, you have Igbos everywhere doing their business. Nobody's driving them away. Why are you driving? I know they will come to that. That is their method. Because you're living in Gwagwalada. I should give Obakala to you. Fulani will take over Obakala. Did they come for business? Is it today they threat to kill you? From 1945, they have been killing you. I remember when George Bush went, I think 2005 or whatever, and bombed Al Qaeda in, bombed, what are they called again? In Afghanistan. In Kanu, they were killing us. In Kanu State, they were killing us. When somebody drew a cartoon of the Muhammad in Denmark, they kill us in the zoo. Have you all forgotten? Are we that foolish that we have all forgotten all of this? During election before your eyes, they destroyed polling stations. They said, oh, BIAFRANS are going there to go and vote. Let's destroy it. EU was that they observed it. They saw everything. After seeing all of these things you're telling me about, I'm endangering your life. You are the one endangering me. And before you endanger me, I will endanger you first. Thank you very much.
Onyendu, this is a very strong one. And I think every Biafran agitators, including media and those writing in national media, should take this up. This is a very strong one. Those who say we are endangering their life or life of Igbos, the people in northern Nigeria, the people supporting one Nigeria are endangering our own life. I think this should be the message from now on, so that because a lot of people never understood, from this perspective you are coming from now. Because when you continue to push for one Nigeria, you continue to endanger the life of others, especially those who do not want to be part of Nigeria. And those people who do not want to be part of Nigeria are much in number than those who want to stay in Nigeria, which is just 1% of, if not up to 1% of them. So this message should be spread. We have to continue. Now, another thing is that when you listen to the Inspector General of Police, you just mentioned about the EFCC, a Fulani, and nobody is talking about it. When you look at the Inspector General of Police declaring what they call a puff, whatever, they have all these fine names they give to their operation and all that. He came to declare one operation puff, or what he called it, that they are going to, deploy people to northern Nigeria where the trouble zone and all that. And you know that the people going there are our own people from the south. And you know that he have just 3 months left. And in these 3 months, we know that this 3 months is going to be the most deadliest 3 months in Nigeria. Now they are sending our men and women to the northern part of Nigeria where Boko Haram and bandits are on rampage. And the idea is to go and slaughter them there. Because the thing that the military could not do is not somebody that went to police training that will go and quench the fire. Now, what do you have, even though we have been advising our people to quit? I don't know whether you have watched that video. One thing the man mentioned in that video that interests me, I apologize to our viewers because this thing is not allowing me to play even any video. I've tried and tried to play video, it is not working. So the thing this IG of police mentioned is that he after making a speech, he said something in Arabic or in Hausa language or something like Allah something something something. So I don't know what he said, but you know that thing he said interests me. I do not know why he's addressing Nigerians in English language. He ended up concluding it with Hausa and Arabic prayer, mentioning Allah. First of all, a lot of people will not pay attention to that, but it means a lot. As a state person, you know, in a public office, addressing people, agency who are supposed to be serving in a secular state, it is not just a sacrilege, but something that should worry everybody, that a police IG addressing the police people, all of a sudden, at the end of the speech, he ended up speaking Arabic and mentioning Allah. Even a president, even though the one parading himself as a president cannot do it, because it is completely against the constitution of Nigeria, if there is anything like that. So what do you have to advise our people? Even though we have
they don't give a damn. It doesn't. Nigeria belongs to them, with the help of the British. Belongs to them. Are you telling me that BBC hasn't seen what has been going on? Can't BBC do a documentary on Fulani killer headsmen to bring out all the facts? They know what is happening. They know Nigeria. If you don't know that Nigeria belongs to the Fulani, to the Janjaweed, then you're mistaken. The only thing that is still worrying me is how the Hausa peasants, even after all these years, have not grown any common sense to understand that they're being used. Nigeria belongs to them. They can do whatever they like. You've not seen them performing military drills in Hausa language, in their own native tongue. You have not seen the motto of the Nigerian army, that it is still the same banner that Ottoman Danfodio went into war with to take Gobert from the Hausa people. You don't know that? You have not seen Arabic on Nigerian army flag. Maybe I'm even surprised that we're not no longer even learning Arabic. I think the deposed emir of Kano, Sanusi, went and took some money from Saudi Arabian government to introduce Arabic as a second language. So you people don't know the mess people don't know the mess they're in. You remember that time we used to say that the war is coming? They said we are warmongers, we are miscreants, we are touts. You know, we have very beautiful names, and I love it. I'm the #1 miscreant anyway. All these names they keep calling us. The same words I used before is what Wole Soyinka is using today. They brought war to our doorstep. They told BBC. The work of BBC is to make sure that regardless of how horrible the behavior of Fulani is to moderate it. That is why they can. What would you pick Arabic? If they decide in Italy, brought in hazardous waste and dumped it there, that port is still existing. You cannot see one cargo ship there. Only in Lagos, and it's congested. You come in, that a ship will be waiting for his turn for her turn, because it's a ship, so it's for her turn for nearly 6-7 months to offload. And you're telling me about one Nigeria. People are in one night. Why wouldn't they speak? Who is the head of customs? A retired military colonel, or is it major? He doesn't wear customs uniform as required by law. He doesn't wear it. The Fulani have messed everybody up. Everybody is useless in the zoo. I don't know. I think it was Ohagi who was writing Yellowchibu, that whoever is advising the Fulani is doing a very good job, because they know us very well. They know we are black people. They know nobody is going to come to rescue us. You can do whatever you like. The BBC is there. All they care about is to make sure that the Fulani continues their march to the sea. That is the work of the British and the British, and it's never going to stop until we rise up and say, enough is enough, which is what we are doing. So you're worried about people speaking Arabic when the army is Arabic. Go and look at the Arabic already. That is the mess we are in. It's unfortunate that people do not see this mess. I had one idiot, as I mentioned the other day, talking about my wife is from Hausa, my baby mother is from Yoruba, the senior brother is from Juku, and I'm Igbo. Because of that, let's have Nigeria. People look at that. People talk as if they injected them in there, as if there's something wrong with their brain. Haven't you seen that our dear sister Chimamanda? Because if you do good, we pardon you. If you mess up, you know, it's IPOB, we are too strong. We shred you to pieces. Today, she has come back to her senses, saying she has what we are saying is correct. You may not like it because I am saying it. You may not like it because someone is saying it. You may not like it because family writers are writing about it. You may not like it because a person is saying it, but it is the truth. You can hide and run and speak all your grammar and all that. It is the truth. Fulani will kill you. They will take your land. They will take it. And the BBC will cover up for them. So you don't know. I feel sorry for the animals in the zoo. Zoological Republic.
Thank you very much. Are you there?
I'm here. I can hear you very well.
All right. Very good. Very good. So, you know, these people, the attack is still going on, and they are battling with the thing at the same time.
They are removing people. They remove people. That's what they do. We have over 10,000, 9,000 plus. They have removed nearly 2,000 people. That's what they do. They ignore them and continue.
Yes, they are throwing me off balance, but we have to continue. Now, when you look at some of the international laws on statehood, like you mentioned about that UN have all these laws and all that. Of course, they are not paying attention. So I just want to read some of the things that to simplify the actions of the United Nations that must shape the international laws of statehood. Man, those things that shape the international law for statehood, for example, the Biafra state. If at a point, as this thing is going now, Biafra declared state, is this. There are the resolution passed by the General Assembly, the decision of the International Court of Justice, the law recording codification effort of International Law Commission, and the decision by the members of by the member to enter treaty recognized or not recognized purported state. Now, there are in addition to this, there are 3 traditional criteria that could make people, indigenous people, to be regarded or to have a statehood. Because all these things I'm saying now is something that Biafra overqualified, like Biafra people overqualified. Now, the 3 traditional criteria is population, territory, and government. And then in defining or giving more meaning to all this, the 3 most basic and least controversial criteria of statehood come from Article 1. Article 1 of the Montevideo Convention of 1933. Now, although the treaty itself has never been officially adopted outside of the Americas, of course, we know what when it comes to international politics and international laws, Article 1 remains highly influential and is generally considered a reflection of most fundamental criteria of statehood. Talking about Biafra now, if what is going on, who knows anytime this year, who knows anytime next year, who knows anytime before 2023, if something happened that every nation in Nigeria begin to declare the statehood, just for clarity. Now, the population, the first fundamental criterion is a permanent population. Simply put, the population of a potential state cannot be entirely composed of nomad or travelers based elsewhere. And now we are talking about the Fulanese. So you cannot, Fulani cannot have a statehood because they fall under the nomad, and or they are regarded as the travelers or they're based elsewhere. They cannot be regarded as population. And that is happening in Nigeria. This is in law. That is happening in Nigeria. Fulani is claiming Nigeria where other people understood what international law says and chased them away. They come to Nigeria where Gari and the Akpu and the Ewedu and the Gusi has beclouded the sense of reasoning of the people who call themselves politicians. And they cannot know their left and right. And now Fulani has come to understand that the people that are in the front line of politics from the southern Nigeria are all Mumu, and they are using that Mumuness against every other Nigeria, which goes to what you have said, that these people are endangering your life and the life of other people while they continue to remain in Nigeria and nomad are controlled. Now, that is for population. Number two, the territory. The second is defined territory. The borders do not need to be fully defined or undisputed. They just need to be an identifiable location. And this is where I give it to you, and I doff my cap, because a lot of people have come to attack you about bring your map. Bring your map. In international law, like I said, the Montevideo Convention, anybody can go and check it out. You have what is defined as territory. You don't need to have a map, before, as you are agitating for your freedom, you do not need to present your map to anybody. At the point where we are now, the question shouldn't be where is your map. So some people are actually misleading a lot of people into putting more effort and emphasis on what is map. But rather, the law says there just needs to be an identifiable location. And you have done this in several of your broadcasts, mentioning where you think Biafra should start from and where it should end. That's exactly in conformity with what this law says. Then another thing is, number three is government. I'm not asking you a question, I'm just backing up with what you've said. The third is an effective independent government with the capacity to enter into relation with other states. This is the trickiest of the three elaborated. Of course, this you have also done very perfectly and excellently well. For those who are looking for what is, how the Biafra government is going to be and all that, you have actually set an example, you have actually set a pace, and actually form two parts in this Montevideo Convention, but essentially require states to have structured, legally independent administration that control at least some of its claimed territory and population. Some additional point to note are: a state does not have to have actual diplomatic relation. It could be under diplomatic boycott. It just needs to have capacity to have them. I believe, with what is going on now in Nigeria, we are going to come to this point of this Montevideo Convention. It may be invoked as time goes on, because when you anoba joso abaya jebe. So, and I believe that other part of Nigeria will also, without even knowing it, adopt this Montevideo Convention. Now, having said this, the Nigeria we see today, and the way the federal government of the Nigeria are backing terrorists openly, without even hiding it. They are backing the terrorists openly, supporting them, romancing with them, having meeting with them. And not only that, they are supporting them, the Sultan of Sokoto, who they regard as the traditional ruler of Nigeria, he is the chairman of board of trustee of Mayete Allah.
Of course.
Mayete Allah has come publicly to take responsibility of the terrorist attack against southern Nigeria. Now, in addition to this, the person that is parading himself as a president in Nigeria is a board member of this terrorist group that have been ranked number 4 deadliest terrorist group in the world. People are not paying attention to this. And when they are killing people, the Minister of Information, who happened to fall into the territory that was conquered in a Kwara state, now come to say, we are not going to treat terrorists the same way we will treat those who want to get their freedom from Nigeria. That is the most absurd thing I have ever had in my life. I know you have addressed this particular comment coming from the liar Mohammed, from Kwara State. But please, can you, in a different, from a different perspective, can you tell us how would somebody who say he's a Nigerian, especially from the eastern part of Nigeria, and you call yourself a politician, you go to Abuja, you call yourself a governor, you go to Abuja, you call yourself a House of Assembly member, you go to your state and all this, and then you hear somebody saying that those who has made you not to travel by road to Abuja, those who made you not to travel by road to Enugu, those who made you not to travel by road to Owerri, with all your fine vehicle and all your cars, they are not to be proscribed. Rather, the people who say you should have your freedom are being proscribed. In Nigeria, where you actually have state judiciary, that you can actually go and approach the state judiciary and order them to de-proscribe IPOB. For the statement coming from that Minister of Information requires opposite reaction. Now, what do you have to tell our people who think this way, that after that statement, nobody has actually come out to say anything? At least I have not read. I have not read anybody.
They will not come because they've been conquered. We are all slaves of the Fulani without knowing it. Not us anyway, maybe not IPOB, but the rest of the zoo. And I must thank you very much for the depth and for the depth of your research in terms of the Montevideo Convention. Montevideo is in Uruguay, for those who do not know. The reason why I never responded to those half-baked intellectuals that keeps talking rubbish about roadmaps, because they don't know anything. I'm a student of contemporary politics. I actually read politics at the university in London. So when I hear some fools who are not educated talk about things that are above their station, I feel sorry for them. All of the indices you mentioned are very relevant. But I think the last one you alluded to is the most important. The United States of America, where I am today, went ahead to unilaterally recognize Kosovo as an independent nation. And today, Kosovo stands as an independent nation. It is your willpower, your determination to fight for what you believe in. Had our war gone on for 6 more months, at the time it ended in January of 1970, we would have been a free people today, because the world was waiting to see how determined we are. The reason why sometimes our people tend to not to understand the dynamics of international politics is because they are not well read. They are not well traveled. When we say it, they say we are arrogant. No, we're not being arrogant. It's just that we happen to be educated and we know what we're doing. We know what we're talking about. We know what we're pursuing, and we know how to get it. Having taken into consideration all the mitigating factors against the emergence of Biafra, our approach has therefore to be unorthodox. If you adopt the orthodox approach to state creation, you are bound to fail. They will ask you, oh, but you are in a democracy. Why don't you go through your senators and go through, I call it a checkpoint, where the Janjaweed is waiting for you to come. Once you come there, they swallow you up. That is the zoo called Nigeria for you. There is something that our people will need to understand. How many people are there in Liechtenstein? I think there are about 150,000 people or less. And Liechtenstein is a separate nation state today in Europe. Nobody is complaining. Nobody is saying that they are too small, they cannot participate in what is happening within that very place. Our people need to understand this and understand it very well. That our march towards freedom is multifaceted. The approach we adopted is multifaceted. We approach it from different angles and dimensions to deliver one result, which is freedom. And in so doing, since the world has come and basically washed their hands off Africa to say, do whatever you can to survive, we are going to do what we can to make sure that we survive. If I understand our situation very, very clearly, is that our people need to remain very, very strong and resolute. Very strong and resolute. That a white man have always defeated black people with one thing: mental strength and resilience. When they were trying to go to the moon, the rockets blew up. The scientists at NASA, most people died in the process of trying to place a man in orbit. But it didn't stop them. They were not deterred. They continued. Where you have superstition, you replace it with practical things. And that is what we have done and will continue to do until we arrive. We understand all the internal dynamics of how a zoo functions. In the case of Nigeria, we know it very well. But one thing our enemies did was to underestimate us, which is a very good thing. I love the way they underestimated our resolve, our resilience, our determination, our intellect, our knowledge, our know-how. I love it. That is why we are where we are today. If you're thinking or hoping that one day you would wake up and things will be better in Nigeria, then you're the worst fool alive. Things can never be better. They have structured the system in such a way that if you were having 12 hours of electricity last year, this year you only get about 6. Despite all the so-called investments, despite all the money they have pumped into each and every supposedly viable sector that is not viable. When I talk about the issues concerning Nigeria as a whole, what I'm doing now is to approach your question from a very holistic perspective. When you look at the issue of Nigeria and how hopeless it is, you don't need to look any further than the only thing that they produce naturally without any sweat or effort, which is crude oil and gas. Even that crude oil and gas, they cannot refine into petrol despite the presence of 4 state-of-the-art refineries. Instead, they gave license to a Fulani man to go and build his own special refinery. That means that all of us are slaves already, without knowing it. Until we realize, until the Oduduwa wake up one morning to say that the best way we can defeat these people is by the East and the West being together. The Yoruba and the Igbo, so to speak, Biafra and Oduduwa, must be together in order to defeat this, because Fulani people, they have one thing that we do not have. They have a godfather who is a member, who is one of the 5 permanent members at the United Nations Security Council, in this case, the United Kingdom. UK will never love you. They may respect you, but they will never love you. The only people they are interested in are the Fulani Janjaweed in the north. So Fulani has an advantage already. Therefore, the only way for us to counter them is through our resilience, our stubbornness, our determination, our never say die attitude, and our ability to work with our closest neighbors, in this case, the Oduduwa, to stand strong and to say enough is enough. if we allow what is happening today to continue to happen, I'm afraid we'll be having these discussions, and what we'll be saying is the number of people who have been killed, where the burials are taking place, because only us will talk about it. No major media in the world will. You don't have $30 billion. That's what the Fulanis have. Over $30 billion to lobby, to make sure that CNN doesn't do anything about your plight, to make sure that the BBC doesn't. And on top of this 30 billion war chest is their own girl who is at the UN lobbying on their behalf. And on top of that, you have Britain. Our work is cut out. But I do believe very strongly, and without any provocation, that we are going to triumph and prevail in the end. Because the God we serve is the Almighty God in heaven and not man. And if his words are to come true, which he has done across the ages, then Biafra is coming and nothing is going to stop it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Hamadike. A lot of people are saying that my question is too long, and they don't know that most of the things I'm just, backing up what you have said already with evidence, within international law.
I like what you did with Montevideo Convention. Anybody now asking you about roadmap, simply give them the link of Montevideo Convention in 1933. Go there and see it. That is the
exactly.
I thank you for that.
Some of them call themselves lawyers and all that, deceiving people everywhere. Anyway, now the next thing I want to ask you is that when you look at the ESN, the Eastern Security Network, a lot of people are saying that, oh, now you have formed militant. Now after this, now the militant is going to turn this and turn that. Of course, I want you to explain this in a different perspective, from a different perspective, looking at the difference. What we have in the ESN is completely different from anything you can see from anywhere in Africa.
Yes, ESN is there to make sure that our land is not taken over by the Fulani Janjaweed. That's all. In the process, if you happen, because for Fulani to get land in your village, they must have an agent. They must have an Igwe or PG that will show them the land or sign contracts with them. Or in most cases, you have a political errand boy in Abuja, probably making his master very happy. Some of these people that forgot their boxer shorts in one hotel or the other over there after meeting an Alhaji, one of these people may bring them back into your village. Those people are also our enemies. So we are not only pursuing the Fulani Janjaweed, we are also pursuing those who are giving land to them so that they understand that what they are doing is intolerable and cannot be condoned. That's exactly what we are doing. And we cannot go outside that very limit. Never, ever, ever. But if you connive with the police, connive with the army to attack any formation of ESN or any IPOB member undertaking the work of state, then you are inviting our wrath upon your head, because we will not forgive nor forget. It's as simple as that. If we put up a poster to say no grazing, you bring it down, you're asking for trouble. If people are going about putting up posters and you attack them, you're asking for trouble. Because of course we understand that some people were fathered by the Fulani Janjaweed during the war. We understand all of that. They gave birth to rubbish, we know that. But what we are saying is that what ESN is doing is to protect our land and to serve the people. It is not there to do anything else. That is why we are not in the townships. We are not going to do police for them. But where our lives are threatened, ESN is there. We are here to protect the lives of our people and to make sure that Biafra is restored. Nothing more, nothing less. We are not going to build that with brutality and senseless thuggery. It's not going to happen. Because we are also, and don't mind you, all of these people, they have sworn to defend Biafra. That is what they are there for. It's not going to change.
Now, Hamadike, looking at what is going on in Nigeria now, we know that the government of Nigeria, the zoo, is accomplished in this whole jihad attack, in this whole terrorist attack. They are accomplished. Now, what assurance will you give the people of Biafra who have become helpless, if not for the emergence of IPOB, if not for the emergence of the ESN just last year, you know, you can imagine what could have been happening now if we are experiencing what the people are experiencing in Yoruba land, where the Fulani, they gave Fulani ultimatum, and then in the after the ultimatum, the Fulani come to say they own the forest in Yoruba land. Now, what assurance are you giving our people of Biafra that you know, any attack coming from Fulani will be resisted and won?
They should know that, because we know that the Nigerian state is an accomplice to what is going on, because there is no president. Nigeria has no president. Buhari is dead. Everybody knows that. Even a fool knows that very well. That is why Garba can come out and tell you that anything I say or Femi Adesina says, you should regard it as if the president is the one speaking. In the height of this mayhem, slaughter, insecurity, the person you say is your president is nowhere to be found. The first lady is nowhere to be found. Because I think she took my advice and went with the young man to Dubai, where they're having fun. Who knows? I think she's over 50 now. I don't think she can get pregnant again or not. Having fun. If not, in the next 9 months, you hear that Aisha has given birth to a bouncing baby boy, baby girl. But she's having fun in Dubai with her boyfriend, wearing Buhari masks, deceiving people, those that claim they went to school. Where is your first lady? I'm saying this in line with I want people to understand that not only is the government of the zoo, the Janjaweed government, complicit in what is going on in the terrorism. They brought in terrorism into Nigeria. Fulani, deliberately, not by a few individuals, not like Mike Asine. This is the government themselves, Ansarok, brought in terrorism into Nigeria. Where is Aisha? First lady, where is she? I feel sorry for Black people. Let me tell you one thing. What is happening in Yoruba land cannot. They know who we are now. Britain must have told them that these people are not cases, though. Don't try them anyhow. And as I've said, they want to do two things: subdue the Yoruba with the force of terrorists, and then come against us with the might of their army. That is the reason why BBC is rooting for them. That is why a whole BBC left their job to be advertising where you can get application form to join the Nigerian army. What other, I tweeted it a few hours ago. What other proof do you need that Britain is the one, they are the ones running the show? BBC advertising where you can get form to join army, because they know they do not have the population to fight us. Let me tell you one thing people don't know. They do not have the population to fight us. They know that very well. If we do the war rises up at the same time as well as Biafra, they cannot defeat us. They know that. Now they're asking for people to join the army. That army is going to be populated by Janjaweed terrorists. They will try us. They will come. They came to all 4 times and we beat them. They went to the air, disturbing disturbing birds of the air. They are cowards. We say, come down on the ground. You know where we are in the forest. Come and look for us, so we can give you a quick exit from this earth, so you can die very quickly. How they do this in the townships, killing people. What is happening in Yoruba land cannot happen in the East. It cannot happen. Britain killed us with one thing: air, land, and sea blockade. Now we manufacture what we use. So how can you defeat us? Are you waiting for telling the world, don't sell arms to them like before? You think we are stupid? No, of course not. What we use, we manufacture. If you want to know how effective it is, ask the zoo army, they will tell you. So they understand. Very soon, we will switch into a suicide mode. We have not come to that yet, but they keep pushing us. Very soon. I told them before, for one suicide bomber you have in Boko Haram, I will give you 10 in Biafra land when the time comes, if you provoke us. We are getting there very soon. And what I'm saying, I say it openly. Openly, so that the world can hear. Because we have written to them. We have complained to them. We have petitioned them. Everybody, are you telling me the world doesn't know that Fulani brought in terrorism? Are you telling me that the CIA doesn't know? Are you telling me that Mossad doesn't know? Are you telling me that MI5 doesn't know? That it was the Fulani brought in terrorism? Is that what you're telling me? Are you telling me that they do not know what is going on? They know, but their consideration is oil. Because let me give you an example. When you want to rise up from the USA to complain about Nigeria and what is happening there, Halliburton, I'm here in Texas. They are here. That's the headquarters. They'll pick up the phone and they will call you and say, leave those monkeys, leave. Remember, President Trump said it, that his friends are making ridiculous money out of Africa. What he meant is that they're making that money because Africans are stupid. He said it when he got it, that his friends are making so much out of our stupidity. The world knows that Fulani wants to take over Nigeria. They know that very well. They know about all the massacres happening. Al Jazeera interviewed the late Buhari, that was in 2016, and asked him, and said to him, look at National High School, Aba. People were being shot. In fact, they removed that woman from Al Jazeera after the interview. She was removed from Al Jazeera. Look at people being shot dead by army and police at National High School, Aba. Nothing happened. And because nothing happened, that, in fact, it doesn't with the Shia. Before our eyes, the world saw the clip of army people kneeling down and firing at civilians. Had the same thing happened in China, you will hear them, all America will be writing, the Tiananmen massacre. What happened with the Shia was worse than what happened in Tiananmen massacre in Beijing. Not one single news outlet in the world carried it because Britain asked them not to. That gave them the impetus to go to Aba National High School to kill, to go to war, they kill. And you know how life is. Once they are killing other people and you're quiet, and Yoruba media was there supporting them. Our army, our boys, today they're in their forest. That thing they say, what goes around comes around. If you support evil today, evil will consume you tomorrow. I used to tell my Yoruba friends, this evil you're supporting, this your one Nigeria will consume you. They said, no, one Nigeria. You are there today. In answer to your question, if they come to our land, they will die there. We'll kill them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. You know, Onyendo, when you are saying British, you know, this British, a lot of people don't understand why you are always hammering on British. On this note, let me make it very public. Of course, this is not also a question for those who think that the question is going to be long. This is not a question, but you can make comment after this. Let me make it a public that in 2015, December 3rd, 2015, a motion was filed at the British Parliament for the independence of Biafra.
Of course.
A lot of people don't know about this.
They don't know about it. They want to see roadmap.
Now, the text of this motion reads that this House recognizes the call for the independence of the territory that constituted the Biafran Republic, acknowledges that Biafra issue could be improved with the cooperation of the Nigeria government by offering a referendum, and urges the Foreign and Commonwealth Office to use its diplomatic strength to assist in the resolution of this matter.
I'm aware of it.
Good.
I'm aware of it. No, I didn't know you were going to ask me about it. I wanted to bring it up much later in this our struggle for Biafra. But since you've mentioned it, I will comment on it. Remember what I told you before, that in England you have good people. In Britain there are good people. It was Britain that was at the forefront of slavery. And yet it was Britain, through their courts, that banned, or should I say, that abolished slavery. The same British people. So it is my hope and prayer that one day good people will rise up again in British politics to recognize that freedom for Biafra is also freedom for Britain. I give them a very simple example. What is the volume of your trade with the USA or with Japan, for instance? If you give, right now, Britain is struggling because they are pleading with Joe Biden to give them favorable status in terms of trade negotiations and the rest of it. If you ask an average British person, they prefer trade with a developed America than with a primitive Nigeria, regardless of the fact that they're getting oil and gas for free. The same thing I said to Britain. Having a free Biafra that is economically viable is your gateway in that thing you've always wanted in Africa. Is only Biafra that can give it to you. Because the economic strength and might of Biafra will allow all your companies that invested in Biafra land to be able to expand exponentially. I will give you a very simple, one very tiny example. Do you think that people eat enough balanced diet? The answer is no, because there is no milk. The milk these are condensed milk. These are processed milk, not fresh milk. That is one thing that stupid Mietiala cannot get into their useless call. They can have viable animal husbandry industry that provides fresh milk for people. Look at all the products that require milk in it. Why do you think that Nigeria cannot produce chocolate? Because they don't have any milk. But the cocoa to produce chocolate is in Yoruba land. And part of it also in Bende, where I come from. I just want to give you a very simple example. Very simple. Look at the world market for chocolate, especially during Easter, during Valentine, during whatever, Christmas. We can make chocolate where we come from with the milk that we produce, employing people meaningfully, exporting all that product. So Britain should, they have this problem. Their problem is that they need somebody to subjugate. They need somebody, when Lugard came, they called him Lord Lugard. And they brought Bible with them. In the same Bible you also have Lord, Yahweh, and in most cases, God Almighty in heaven. And you're looking at this Beture, and they call him Lord, Lord. So that means he's close to God now, or he's related to Jesus. You respect him. Do you see how daft and foolish we are? They don't know that when you call somebody a Lord, that is temporal and that is spiritual. God is spiritual Lord. Those in the house of laws, they are temporal. But you have to go to school to understand all these things. And it's not our fault that we're educated. That is where we are. It's not our, it's education, sound education. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And that reminds me, when some people call Lord Nnamdi Kanu, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, a lot of people get upset.
But they go to England, if you ask them who created that, they say Lord Lugard, very proudly. They won't say famous, they say Lord Lugard. Because that Lord is a white man. Nnamdi Kanu is a black man. How can I call a fellow animal from Africa Lord when there are white people there?
Sorry about this. Yes.
So black people.
Yes. Now, when you look at from what you have just said now, you explained something very, very important. And that reminds me, when you look at what is going on globally, you find out that people of the southern Nigeria, and then we bring it down to Biafra people, like Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala today.
Because we're a blessed race. From your mother's womb, you can perform miracles and wonders. Have you not seen people building power plants, little children building toys, remotely controlled? Have you not seen them doing marvelously well and doing wonderful things? Are we not the ones that manufactured the first indigenous car in Africa? We don't even need to go abroad. Those abroad will be begging to come back home to participate because we have it in abundance. It's about harnessing the potentials of these people and bringing to the fore. We are not going to suffer what other Black people suffer from in Africa. If you are better than me at doing something, I will concede to you. I will step down and you will take over because you will do it better than I can. That is the mentality we're going to go into Biafra with. Everybody will be accommodated. But those who are excellent, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to say, oh, because Nnameka, my child, is not as brilliant as your own. Because of that, your child will not climb. It has to be my own. God forbid. Excellence. We are going to celebrate excellence. We are going to reward those that serve their nation. Not noisemakers, not empty barrels, not criminals and vandals, no, heaven forbid. And above all, there will be no police carrying guns on the street. So you can think properly. People don't understand this. In Biafra land, you can live your life unless we are at war. You cannot see a soldier on the streets. So you can think properly. Because we've been traumatized by this. They have dealt with us. So we are going to build a novel country. Britain knows this. Listen, Britain, they know this. They don't want Biafra to come because they know that Biafra will put every other person to shame. That's why they don't want it. If not, give us Biafra now. Give it to us. Okay, say it to us. Give us Biafra for 5 years. If it's not viable, you go back to Nigeria. They know what we can do. That's what I want to say. We have abundance of time. Did you train as a journalist?
No.
Then that answers the question. We don't need anybody. We welcome those from outside, though. No problem. Some of them said if Biafra were to come today, some of them will leave their things here and follow me, and they will go back home. They will come. We are going to accommodate them. But because you speak English in a particular way, it doesn't mean you're intelligent. Doesn't mean you're. We have seen all this nonsense now. Those that spoil Nigeria, they are those speaking long grammar, isn't it? Those speaking too much grammar. They're the ones that ruin life for everybody else. So if they can come, we can accommodate them. But in Biafra land, in Ezurok, everything is complete. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I know that you are very, very tired, because they are, first of all, the attack on this whole thing before we start almost threw me off balance. Almost threw me off balance. I never expected it, honestly. But thank God we managed to have come this far. One thing I'm going to ask you, I think it's going to be the last question before I will allow you to rest, because you have been on this journey for a very long time and every day on the phone and all that. So I'm going to ask you one last question. The question is this: if from what I've just read now about the motion for Biafra independence at the UK Parliament,
yes,
the wording is that the Office of the Commonwealth must make sure they use their diplomatic power and ties to compel, though they did not use the word compel, but to compel Nigeria government to organize referendum for a possible freedom of Biafra. And this is exactly what we are all asking. Now, if this did not happen, are you ready to lead us to do anything to get the freedom of Biafra?
Yes.
Which I'm going to be number one to follow you.
Yes. You think we're going to live like this, like a bunch of animals forever? Of course not. Of course not. It can't. They know it very well that we are coming, and I will come, and I'll bring hell with me. They understand it very well. You better give me Biafra now. If they do not give me Biafra now, the zoo, I am making it very clear to the whole world so they understand what I'm saying very clearly. So that by the time that we are gone, history they will remember the deeds of God upon our lives. We have not come for anything else. I don't exist for anything else. It's only for Biafra to come. If you're not going to give me that Biafra, I will destroy everything I see on my path. I'm being honest with you. There is no other outcome. Forget about all those speaking grammar and that's rubbish. Give us a referendum, as those British MPs tried to do, in keeping with the fact that in England you have people that have soul and conscience. If you have a referendum today and people say foolishly vote to remain in one Nigeria, I will give up. But that's where we're going to, and nothing. You know where we are now. Do you think we are going to drop our guns now? Is that what you think? Are we going to drop it now? No.
No way.
You must negotiate, and that is going to be a referendum. They understand it. or else we give them hell, and they know it. If Boko Haram, a bunch of idiots that didn't go to school, can give you a tough time, imagine people who are educated and all over the world. But as you know, with Pharaoh, their ears will be blocked. They'll be doing their janja with some. They will think, oh, we have a Hanese, we have George Obioso, we have the likes of Hope, we shall prevail. But you'll hear their stories soon as well. We're not going back. Oh. We have come to die for what we believe. Thank you very much for having me, Simon. And continue your good work. And don't allow Satan to get into you. Don't.
Never, never. Thank you very much, Ohamadike. DK Anakbogunanya. Greetings from people from Canada. Greetings from people from Australia. Greetings from people from almost all European countries. As I am talking with you, you notice that my face has been on the, I'm reading messages. People are sending messages. Everybody from different parts of the world telling me to greet you. Particularly people from Canada are asking, when are you coming to Canada?
Let them find a cure for COVID and I'll be there. COVID is everywhere.
Okay, they're listening to you. They're listening to you. Thank you very much, our leader. And for those of us who are, in the media, we are promising that we are not going to fail the Biafra people. We will work tirelessly until Biafra comes. We will follow you. Any decision you make on Biafra, we are going to follow, because we are not the one who advised you until we joined. So any decision you feel that you make for Biafra, we are going to follow, because we know it is going to yield fruit and it's going to lead us somewhere. We have come a long way, no going back. Nobody is going to die. Nobody is going to die. We will all see Biafra.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you very much.
And enjoy yourself. Have a very nice week. And see you again.
There is snow in Houston. I think it's for the first time in 5 or 6 years. They said I brought snow into Houston. People are living large here. No wonder some of them don't want to come back home. They are living a very good life here. Some of them are very, very fabulously well off. But of course, we know that Biafra will come and will be a better country, even more than the USA. Thank you very much, Simon.
Exactly. We have minus 25 degrees here.
Are you serious? Minus 25?
I'm telling you.
Unbelievable. Yes, minus 25. I think the temperature here is minus. I was minus 10 earlier today. Now it's just 0. Only 0. Common 0. Now it is.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And this is the beginning. This is the beginning of Anyukomamiono Obao.
Of course. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you all for being part of this program. As you can see, we were under very heavy attack. As I'm talking to you now, I cannot even play any video on this my wonderful gadget that has actually turned to Buhari system. So thank you all for being part of this program. We're going to go now, but by tomorrow we are going to start our normal broadcast, where we may be touching some of the issues we discussed today, and I'm going to be bringing all the evidences that some of the things we have talked. I'm going to bring them to you to see, because now I cannot I cannot even show anything on the screen. Everything is frozen. Everything is frozen. Everything is completely frozen. So tomorrow I'm going to bring the evidences, and we are going to talk more on this. This is the beginning. Remember, we are going to our destination, which is Biafra. No going back. The game has just begun. God bless Biafra. May God bless Oduduwa. May God bless the Middle Belt. May God bless RAY if they are going to accept my prayer. May God bless IPOB worldwide. May God bless Mazin Amdekano. May God bless all the people that are agitating for Biafra. May God bless our Oduduwa brothers. May God bless Sunday Igboho, who have taken it upon himself to liberate Yoruba people. May God bless anybody coming out from Yoruba land to support the struggle. God bless you who will always watch, share our videos to make sure that people are liberated and the Biafra struggle is going very, very far. Thank you very much. May God bless you. Good night.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful broadcast. You see, this is a broadcast that anytime you watch, you learn. Like I said before, the simple reason why I play this video today is for we to go back to where we started. We listened to Mazen Kanu, and I want us to understand something. Everything he said, you see, when you hear Mazi Simon Ekpa say, I go into the heart of Mazen Kanu and take message every day, you will find out that from this interview, he has already asked him everything he is doing now. Mazen Nadekano has given him go on and do them. He has assured him, go and do it, and with you. He has given him the go ahead order in this interview. Everything you see him doing now, provoking the Islamic State of Nigeria to come to Biafra land and perish, all of them, Mazen Nadekano made it clear here today. Everything. Those that think is because Mazi Simon Ekpa have raised and inaugurated and unveiled the Biafran army is the reason why you are terrorists. I want you to know, Mazi Nanekalo made it clear here that even if you did not do anything, you are already a terrorist. The only way, even if you say, I am not, did you not listen the time they burned the market of our people in Lagos after the election immediately? That was either February or March. They were saying, but we were not agitating for Biafra. We are only one Nigeria, and you come and burn our market. And we did not ask for any trouble. We did not even vote for anybody. If you vote for anybody, you are a target. If you refuse to vote for anybody, you are a target. If you identify with Biafra, you are a target. If you don't identify with Biafra, you are a target. Bible said one thing: sow your seed non-stop. Sow your seed every moment of your life. Keep sowing seed, because you never can tell the one that will germinate and bear fruit. Fight for your freedom any way you are, with any means, with anything that comes into your hands, into your mouth, into your pocket, financially. Woto, give it to Biafra. That is the point where we are right now. So, my people, let me quickly drop this program so that I will be able to come up again. I want to come up and we will listen to Benjamin in Madubugu, and I will talk to him one after the other. From that audio, he blasted himself. That is why I played this Mazen Nandekano video with Simon Ekpa today, so that when you will be listening to that foolish man, you will understand that he did not see Mazen Nandekano because Mazen Nandekano don't want to see him. I must say thank you so much for being part of this program. See you soon. Just maybe in an hour time, I will be with you again. We will discuss Maze. We will discuss that Mumu Otondo man. We will talk about him. So from me to you is goodbye.